So Anthony Yarde returned to action yesterday with a third round TKO win over a guy called Marko Nikolic. I think that's his name. Prior to that, he fought last year in September against a guy called Jorge Silva. Yarde has had this strange career path whereby he goes from fighting absolute cream puffs, bin men, puddings, etc., and then jumps up in his next fight to fight an elite champion in Kovalev, and then goes back down to fighting puddings, and then back up to fighting elite champions again in Artur Beterbiev. Very, very strange. Now, obviously, amongst that, he did fight Lyndon Arthur a couple times, and Lyndon Arthur is not a pudding. He's not exactly elite world level, but he's a decent fighter. But apart from Lyndon Arthur, this has been the pattern in Anthony Yarde's career. Very, very strange. Now look, if you're coming back from a stoppage defeat, I get it. You fight a couple puddings and then you step up. But you step up incrementally. That's the way it's traditionally been done. Whereas Yarde has got this kind of bipolar type scenario. On or off, binary, bum or elite champion, nothing in between. Now with that being said, there's the possibility of Anthony Yarde fighting Joshua Buatsi, who turned up to make it known in person to Anthony Yarde that he's ready to go. They spoke after Yarde's fight. I'm not going to talk about Yarde against this journeyman he fought because there's no point. You know, it was just a run out for him. The guy had no ability to speak of. He was relatively tough in game, but again, his fighting ability was just not there. I mean, you couldn't even call it a glorified sparring session because sparring sessions last longer than that. It was more like a glorified pad workout against a human heavy bag. So yeah, this potential fight with Joshua Buatsi. Now, TNT have got this pound shop version of Ade. You know, this guy, I'm sure he's a nice person and all that type of stuff, but if we're just talking about his ability as a presenter, he just comes across as a pound shop version of Ade, you know, like a pale imitation. These television networks really do lack imagination when it comes to recruiting people for their broadcast teams. They just seem to look at what the other networks are doing and try and copy them exactly. Anyway, the pound shop Ade, whatever his name is, was asking Buatsi and Yarde directly, are you up for fighting each other next? Buatsi was very clear, very concise. He said, yep, let's do it next. Whereas Yarde started talking about, well, you also have to think about timing and world titles and blah. I'm like, you just fought for a world title. What are you talking about? He didn't seem as keen on taking the fight right now as Joshua Buatsi does. At the end of the day, Beterbiev and Bivol are tied up with an undisputed fight in June. Will the belts become fragmented after their first fight? We don't know. They may have a rematch and that might be undisputed too. Joshua Buatsi, who's mandatory challenger for the WBA, probably ain't going to get his shot until, 2025? Especially if there's a rematch between Beterbiev and Bivol. So in the meantime, he's like, yo, I'll fight Anthony Yarde, let's do it now. Yarde kind of went round the houses a little bit before eventually saying, look, maybe me and Buatsi can fight for a world title. If not, maybe we can get it on anyway. I get that he's a businessman and he's trying to maximize the revenue from that fight. But there's an old saying which might apply in this situation. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Take the moment and make it perfect. Sometimes you can overcook things. Sometimes you can wait too long and actually miss the opportunity. Sometimes you can end up being too clever for your own good, trying to find ways to maximize the revenue and build the fight up and all this type of stuff. Strike while the iron is hot. The iron is hot right now. Buatsi's coming off an exciting win over Dan Aziz. Yarde's performance against Artur Beterbiev is still relatively fresh in the memory of boxing fans. Both Buatsi and Yarde are in their early 30s now, probably at their peaks. Let's do it. That's how I feel about it. That's how Buatsi feels about it. So it's over to you, Mr. Anthony Yarde. I don't think Yarde's afraid of Buatsi, but is he afraid of losing his position as the biggest draw in the British light heavyweight scene to Buatsi? Because that's what probably would happen if Buatsi beat him. So I'll leave it there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below.